You are tuning in to the most informed show on the internet. The Above Limits podcast is an expression of logical thought put into physical form. Subscribing to our channel is the biggest support you can give. Positive vibes and understanding found here. Olympus Mons, your host, is ready to welcome you to the show. Thank you for listening, and now, enjoy the Above Limits podcast.
Hello everybody, this is Olympus Mons, your host for the Above Limits podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about Qanon, of course. Seems like as of maybe about 4 days ago, Qanon became mainstream, and everybody on the mainstream media is trying to explain exactly what Qanon is, and I personally think that the mainstream media is, when we say that we're going to do research on a subject, that we're going to do research on a subject and understand what it is that we're trying to explain. We did the research. We understand what we're talking about. We're not putting anything that's fake. You get what I'm saying? That there's a big thing going around that there's fake news, and there's a debate on whether it exists. People act like, what do you mean fake news? How could that be? How could the news be fake? How could the news not be telling the people that watch it the correct information? And so when we talk about QAnon, basically what I'm seeing out there is the mainstream media doesn't do a very good job of explaining, because what they're doing is they're now presenting this idea of QAnon to the masses, but they can't explain what QAnon is. So my first video, I'd like to demonstrate this hypothesis in which I have, right? Because it's all a hypothesis that I'm trying to pose to everybody, right? We'll start it off with Bill Maher, because Bill Maher to me basically sums up the exactly what the mainstream media is saying that QAnon is. And I'll say it right now. They basically say QAnon is blah 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 blah, pedophile sex cult ring believers. You know what I'm saying? So we'll go first to Bill Maher to show exactly what I'm trying to talk about. Let's see, we don't have a time here, so we'll just go straight into it.
The last thing that I must report to you, I don't want to, but this happened this week, and it was kind of a big story. I learned a new word. I didn't want to, but that word is QAnon. Because we saw this at the Trump rally. All the people, not all, but a lot of them wearing these two there. Q, and we're with Q, we're all Q. At first I thought, oh great, Republicans have finally come to terms with their sexuality. But no. This is a big movement on the right. See, we don't hear about these things because we're not crazy, but see, Q is a person, a member of the deep state, way high up in the deep state, but now he's turning on them, and he's revealing that the world is run by a giant pedophile ring. Really. Every president since Reagan has been part of it. Hillary, Obama, who's a pedophile? Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg, and who's going to stop this? Trump. Because who is more...
So, Yeah, that's what he says. And basically, my point is, and when I speak, there's certain times where I think where people want to try to shit on my argument. I'm gonna just point out that my main point is this, okay? That the mainstream media, they're trying to tell you that they're going to explain to you what QAnon is. But every time they explain to you, and we'll see this in every single clip that I've pulled from mainstream media, because about 4 days ago, QAnon became mainstream. Before 4 days ago, when you looked up QAnon, you had a bunch of people, the people that they're talking about QAnon. Okay, so, but as of 4 days ago, now the mainstream media is talking about QAnon, and I'll get into why they're talking about QAnon. But the basic brainwashing of people and the fake news, the reason why I'm upset and the reason why I care is because they're lying. That's not what QAnon's about. Okay. It is not. It has very little to do with child pedophiles or predators or whatever it is. I mean, here's what it is about. Okay, this is the main point. The main point is that QAnon is about the people that believe in QAnon, who they're trying to verify. They're trying to verify that QAnon is real. I consider myself a person that believes that there is a new world order. We say nowadays, because it's kind of like a curse word in mainstream media and on the TV to say new world order. So they say this word called deep state. Other words is shadow government, but I believe in a new world order because I believe that there have been false flags. It's documented. It's factual. There's also psyops and psychological warfare that's created on people. As I'm pointing out to you right now, this is psychological warfare. And amongst those people that believe that, which I guess I'm a part of it, there's a debate on whether Q is real or Q is bullshit. Okay? Amongst these truther, New World Order fanatics, conspiracy theorists, whatever you want to call it. Okay? So, with that, it is to be believed that there is someone within the administration at the highest level who is basically fighting the New World Order. And the end conclusion is that the New World Order will be exposed, people will go to jail, and a freeing, the Great Awakening, a freeing of everybody, because this is all out in the open, this is all proven, this is all fact. You know what I'm saying? That is what QAnon is. If you were legitimately trying to prove what QAnon is, that is what you would say. And I just seen a video from Anna Kasparian where it's titled Anna Kasparian exposes QAnon, and she gets up there and basically says the same thing that all these other fucking nincompoops are saying on TV. Now, my next video is why did QAnon become mainstream? Okay, and I'll give you. Let's see, got to fix some stuff here again. And why did QAnon become mainstream? Right, it's because of this guy.
So the president points at you. How quickly after that did you know that like this had become a big deal?
I was driving home, and he jumped on his iPad.
Yes, I always go to the Great Awakening on Reddit. It's like my site for the Q. And somebody said to the guy with the Q, cut out. Q's looking for you. And I guess Q did post while we were there. Trump pointed you out purposely. We had no clue. And then everybody's like, Q and half the world's looking for you. It's confirmed.
Yeah.
What's confirmed?
Confirmed that it's Trump. It's not him, but it's the Q team, and he validates it by doing those little things, letting us know that he hears us, and we're in the same. It's the Q movement team.
All right, so this Trump, this guy was holding a sign, right? A Q sign, and Trump pointed at him and gave him a thumbs up. So people saw that, and the mainstream media saw that because he acknowledged them, and I believe that's when it became mainstream. And it also became mainstream because now that you have a recognition by the president and one guy with a Q sign, now everybody that's ever thought about QAnon or is a believer in QAnon is going to now to try to get the president's attention and get him to further prove that the QAnon thing is real. Okay, so that's that. I think I got a pretty good grasp of both what is QAnon, because honestly, I've stayed away from this topic because I've seen people go after Montagraph and and because he's anti, well, he thinks that QAnon is bullshit, that people attack him, and these people are pretty obsessive about it, right? But so I've stayed away from the topic because I kind of believe it's bullshit, but then the part of me is like, I want to see Dick Cheney and George Bush go to jail. I think if 9/11 was helped in the way that the pieces look, where the government was involved in it, that basically murdering and sacrificing 3,000 people, American citizens, plus the people that died in trying to recover those people, the rescuers that died, that are pretty much all dead, and then the 8 million Iraqis that died, plus the soldiers that we lost. I think that's probably the most ultimate evil in the world. So therefore, if QAnon is real, I want to see these people go down. So that's where I'm at with it. But I think it's bullshit mainly because of the things that have been said that haven't come true, that the sidestepping of all that. So we'll continue because there's another part of this video that I think is important, and if it doesn't come up pretty soon, I'll just explain it and try to look for it. Here we go.
Is this a fun thing to know about, a fun thing to be a part of?
Yes. It's fun because things get revealed.
It's fun because we know before it's going to happen a lot of times. So think of it. When things are happening, we got a smirk on our face and go, Q told us. For instance, Q has told us at 4 a.m., media gets their talking points at 4 a.m. And that's how they start. So at 4 a.m., whatever the talking points is, then you look at all the media playing, and I don't know if you've seen that video with the media starts out with one, and they keep adding blocks, and before you know it, they're all saying the same thing.
I know this wasn't like a big drop, but this was.
Okay. I thought it was going to play the video that he was talking about, but that's another major point that I find. I didn't even really see that part, because a lot of times when I talk to people that are trying to defend the mainstream medias, or that defend everything that like the mainstream media is doing, misinforming people of QAnon and what it stands for, and the people being dangerous and etc. That they generally don't have an original thought. They generally are parroting mainstream media, which upsets me, because everything I'm presenting to you, I've come up on my own. I've thought about it. I've thought about it a lot to come up with the points that I'm coming up with. And when this guy states, he says, I don't know how valid that is, that the media gets its talking points at 4 a.m. But I do notice a trend of these Trump bashing media. It's just over and over again the same thing, and scolding him as if the media is like they're somebody important. They're just people. They're not even elected officials. They're just people that are reading teleprompters. And Fox News used to do this the best, but now it just seems like I didn't know that the left and those media networks had it in them, but basically they now do it the best of just crying and salivating at any type of dirt or whatever the grievance for the day is against Donald Trump. So with this guy saying the video where it had 139 news stations basically reading a script, and it goes one by one by one. I mean, when they are stating that, what I opened up with is that the people that believe in QAnon, et cetera, they just put QAnon and then the main thing that ties them together is believing in child sex rings. That's their main talking point. And when you have the media doing it at the same time, over and over again, you have to wonder about what they're scared of. What they're scared of the truth of QAnon, bringing to me more validity of the conspiracy. Now, we will move on to this next video because it basically all I'm showing is the misinformation of let's look at the titles. This one with Chris Hayes is "What is QAnon?" And then the next one is Brian Williams, "What does the conspiracy group QAnon have to do with the president?" These are titles to explain what QAnon is, and they're all at the top of relevancy of QAnon. No longer is it people like me just commenting on QAnon and their opinions and trying to explain it correctly. It's now the mainstream media, the machine, trying to tell you basically lies, basically fake news, and that's what I hate. So here we go again. All in with Chris Hayes.
If you tuned into Donald Trump's rally in Tampa, Florida last night, you might have noticed a somewhat ubiquitous Q symbol on signs in the crowd. And if you are lucky enough not to have had to interact with this idea, let me take a moment to explain. Those Trump supporters you see waving around the letter Q printed on signs and on their T-shirts are followers of Q, an anonymous poster on the message boards 4chan and 8chan. Q claims to be sharing insider government secrets with the masses and has spawned an entire movement, QAnon, which essentially believes the entirety of the Democratic Party and much of Hollywood are conspiring and running an underground pedophile sex trafficking.
That's one other publication or news just story, someone trying to present the idea, and the first thing they open up with is that. Think of those boxes, like the video the guy was talking about, where the 139 news stations are saying the same thing in a script. It's the first step of hypnotization is repetition. Okay, so like I was saying, whenever I speak to somebody that's trying to debunk what I'm saying, they say this stuff. They have no original thought. All there is hypnotization, or hypnotizing them. They've been hypnotized by the machine. You know what I'm saying? So we will continue.
Even Tom Hanks. And the followers of Q also believe that President Donald Trump is working secretly with the generals to expose this entire sick thing, and that the Mueller probe isn't actually investigating Donald Trump, but Robert Mueller and Donald Trump are actually investigating the Obamas and the Clintons, all of whom are wearing ankle bracelets because they've already been secretly indicted. Now, if you're hearing this for the first time, your reaction is correct. This is all insane and incoherent. It is also shockingly widespread, as evidenced by last night. And remember when Roseanne Barr tweeted about how President Trump has freed so many children held in bondage to pimps all over this world?
I'd like to comment on that. Number one, I'd like to say is that it's not insane. I mean, there's documents that we could prove false flag operations. We could prove a lot of things dealing with the New World Order. It can be proven. Also, as far as Roseanne and that what he just said about him freeing children from pimps, Trump took down Backpage. Trump did that. And for those who don't know, Backpage is a pretty well-known place where children were sex trafficked. It doesn't have to do with QAnon. It has to do with what Trump did. That's an accomplishment. He did that. It's not insane. It's totally what happened. So we shall go further.
That was a QAnon reference. Kurt Schilling has linked to a pro-QAnon video on his Facebook account, and Sean Hannity retweeted a hashtag QAnon tweet this past January. The QAnon Reddit board, Great Awakening, has almost 50,000 subscribers. Its YouTube videos regularly get hundreds of thousands of views. It's a conspiracy theory that appears to be growing in strength, and it had its coming out party at the president's rally in Tampa last night. I want to bring in two people who have been tracking the growth of this conspiracy.
Here comes the experts. Here they go.
Theory, MSNBC contributor Sam Cedar, hosts the Majority Report, and Will Sommer, tech and internet reporter for the Daily Beast, who has been on this. Will, I want to start with a bite of someone at the rally sort of explaining it, because I think it shows the crazy sort of mystical cult quality of the following of this. Take a listen.
QAnon, the storm, the Great Awakening. This all started back when the president was meeting with military leaders back in October last year, saying this is the calm before the storm. That launched us into what the Q team, military intelligence, most likely has been talking to all of us, letting us know what's going on behind the scenes, letting us know the covert battles that are waged between the deep state and President Trump and his military alliance. Spread it. Combat the mainstream media. I mean, we're fighting a battle on all fronts here.
What do we? I don't want to get into the details of this because it really is like this sort of bizarre no-stick nonsense. But why is this thing taking hold?
So QAnon, I think you had a great summary of it. It almost presents like a counter-narrative for Trump supporters who maybe aren't happy with how the administration's going, or they wanted more, like they wanted to lock her up or something like that. And so QAnon presents this whole counter-narrative of all the items are like Trump's winning and Trump's taking on the deep state. And so that's, I think, why it appeals to Trump supporters.
I don't think I'm going anywhere with this video. Pretty much, hey, they're looking at some dude, and he sounds a little goofy. I mean, my opinion on that is that people that believe in this type of stuff, there's different levels of the belief, because just because you believe in 9/11. The not official truth about 9/11 doesn't mean that you automatically believe in Sandy Hook or different things like that. There's different levels. There's people that are like on the prepper side. They tend to know about militias. They are in a militia. They have a lot of guns. They're prepping. They're a little more aggressive in their thoughts, and possibly gullible, because a lot of these guys they'll believe anything. Then there's people that are logical thinking and know the facts about a lot of things. They can sift through the BS and what is logical. So, there's different levels of this. So they chose some guy that's a little nutty, or it doesn't look like your regular guy. This next video, I just want. It's Brian Williams, right? And what was Brian Williams? Brian Williams got caught lying about his time in Iraq, and he's just like a Ron Burgundy cheese ball, you know what I mean? So here's Brian Williams' take on QAnon. Of course, he's going to say, child sex ring and all that stuff. It's typical. So here he goes.
One of our guests last night who was in attendance at the Trump rally in Tampa mentioned seeing members of the fringe right wing, including a conspiracy group, the members of which displayed the letter Q prominently. We saw it in the crowd and signs and on shirts, and the Q stands for QAnon. The group got its start on the web. They believe they've received intel from a top government source, a mole at the highest reaches of our government, and there is no end to the false rumors they have pushed, including a smear effort headquartered on YouTube, alleging several Hollywood celebrities, Democratic politicians, and other so-called elites are pedophiles involved in a global child sex ring.
That's what it's about.
The Mueller investigation is actually about Obama and Clinton, and that Trump is made to appear as more of the cover. And here is the comment from Trump that gave this group a lot of fuel. A photo op during a White House dinner for military commanders and their spouses. And note what the president says here, which would normally be filed under the kind of toss-off comment the president sometimes makes.
You guys know what this represents? Well, maybe you can comment what this what's the storm? Could be a comment from the storm.
What storm, Mr. President?
Military people.
That's so Trump right there. I just want to interrupt and say this, okay? As far as like people talking about, well, Trump, fuck Trump. That's basically what they say. I go to them and I tell them, most people, not everybody, but I'm like, let's not pretend that you actually give a shit about politics and that you know anything on the subject. If you're just going to say fuck Trump, because you wouldn't say fuck Trump if you believed in what I believe in. And the reason being is that it's either this or it's this. Either Trump is the deep state, either Trump is the New World Order, or Trump is being undermined by every means possible by every arm of the deep state, his presidency. And you got to question, when he kicks out a reporter, they're talking shit, and he's tired of it, and it's like, get out of here. You know what I mean? That's a little derailment there, but either he is the deep state or the deep state is undermining every bit of his presidency to smear him. And that's what I tell people that don't. You don't have to love Trump, but let's understand this. If you're parroting what these people are putting out there, the mainstream media, Brian Williams, Ron Burgundy, Chris Hayes, Rachel Maddow, the Young Turks, CNN, they're all bought and sold by the deep state, dude. They're all parroting each other. I'm trying to prove these things to you. If they're all saying the same thing, number one, they're worried about something. They're scared. And they got to get the misinformation out there, and you got to question why. And, somebody was telling me something about, I'll say it now. The New World Order is on the losing side right now. You know what I'm saying? They're like, well, how come they didn't get Hillary elected, or how come this or that? It's because they're on the losing side right now. So you still have, you still have their hands in the mix, trying their hardest to smear this president, and with everything, allegations that he's a racist, a rapist, he's a misogynist, he doesn't like immigrants and stuff like that. I mean, they're trying their hardest. So here we are. Here we'll go and continue.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Give us a hint on your end.
Thank you, everybody.
Calm before the storm. NBC News reporter Ben Collins covers this digital world for the network and has been looking into this group.
More experts here.
As we mentioned, we've asked Clint Watts, former FBI special agent, to stick around and be a part of this. Ben, did I get their motives and some of their beliefs about right, and what else should we know about them?
Unfortunately, you got it all right. There's not much to know about them. Basically, this is fan fiction. This is a conspiracy theory that, Donald Trump is doing everything right, and anything that looks like he's doing wrong is actually the right thing. They misconstrue typos intentionally to make it look like he's in on it, this whole thing. And, at the end of the day, this is just in a situation where people on the internet who can't really grapple with the reality of the situation.
What about these people not being able to grapple the reality that Donald Trump's the president and getting the fuck over it, and not having it consume their whole life, causing them derangement because they hate the man so much? How about that?
Decided to take out all this disinformation on their political enemies. And that's what you see here. They've accused all these people, from celebrities to politicians, of being a part of a child sex ring that simply does not exist. We thought this was over.
Repetition. First step to hypnotization is repetition. There you go.
With the Pizzagate, but it just amped itself up with the help of a lot of different people on Twitter, Reddit, and Facebook.
And Clint, you do your work, your life's work, as we do ours, in a free society where it's hard to limit this kind of thing. It's hard to squelch or suppress it. Look at the climate this is coming up in.
Right, and going back 2 years ago, we saw the Kremlin pushing a lot of disinformation around the election. But what we're seeing now is everybody adopting those techniques. So there's a lot of artificial production in terms of social media, social bots, amplification. You're seeing very high-end production. The videos are very good, which makes them more convincing. And you're seeing them spread very rapidly and in a much quicker way. So like the key phrase there, the calm before the storm. What you can do is, if you're a good social engineer, you can pick out these phrases that are catching with the audience and combine them into a conspiracy that seems more convincing to people that don't really know the details. So I'm not so much worried about Russia.
These people know the details, and they're basically
disinformation today. I'm worried about American disinformation because it's a public safety issue. A lot of these conspiracies, we've seen people show up with weapons. We've seen shutdowns, police emergencies that have come from it. And if you look at this has got all the elements of what would maybe be an uprising, or advocating for violence, or nudging people towards it, or even political upheaval. So I think it's a really dangerous phenomenon, especially.
All right, so we have A and we have B. Agenda A and Agenda B. Agenda A is to misinform people into believing that these people are just nuts, just putting it out there that these people are nuts. And then B is to put out that they're dangerous. They have guns. They are pushed to violence. They were trying to cause an uprising, but our side's winning. These people all love Trump, and Trump's the president. He won, so therefore we won. You know what I mean? So this guy's full of shit, and he's the expert. He's it just goes back to what I'm trying to tell you. People that want to argue with me, they just parrot this nonsense. They have no original thought in their body, and I got plenty of thoughts on it, And I don't think only reason why I'm presenting it is because I think I got a good grasp of what I want to say. And so, like, I'm putting it out there. I think I got a good grasp of, you know, how to say what QAnon is and why it became mainstream, as my title says. So if I didn't have that grasp, I wouldn't do it. Or if I was parroting somebody else, I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? So here we go.
Especially when you see it tied to the president and his rallies.
Ben, in the immortal words of my late mother, who had no idea groups like this would someday surface in her country, it's all fun and games till someone gets hurt. What is the danger of something going really wrong?
Sure, we've already seen it with the Pizzagate situation where Comet Pizza, last year.
Right.
Exactly. A man walked into a pizza parlor and shot it up, assuming there was a child sex ring in the basement, trying to investigate it. Now, with QAnon...
What is Pizzagate? Okay. What got people fired up? It was leaked in emails that John Podesta was talking about pizza, but when people deciphered things, especially on the internet, people do this all the time, where the internet is like its own detective. They figure it out and put the pieces together, and a lot of times they're pretty accurate. They're right most of the time. What they basically said was that these emails and John Podesta's behavior of like spirit cooking, and these are all things that happen, and the paintings that him and his brother had, the words they were using, the code words, are code words that are known by FBI and law enforcement agencies for code words for pedophiles to communicate with each other on the dark web. That's the facts. Okay, so when this guy just talks about, oh, Pizzagate, some dude went to the Comet Pizza. Okay, yeah, some crazy did that. That happens. But can you explain what Pizzagate is correctly? I believe I just did. So when the way I say it, it makes sense to why people would be like, that's interesting. It's peculiar. Here we go.
There's already some real life examples, right? There was a guy who blocked the entrance to the Hoover Dam a couple weeks ago. Since he's gotten into jail, he's sent a bunch of wild letters to the president talking about QAnon conspiracy theories. There's a guy
Let's talk about the guy with the Hoover Dam. I mean, if the guy had explosives and did that on the Hoover Dam, that'd be pretty bad. It's isolated incident. It's a crazy dude. You're always going to have that. And when I started researching this stuff, I was trying to make the argument that most of the shooters that have been happening recently have been left-wing motivated, left-wing Antifa type SJWs, and so I tried to make that point, but you really can't say that, because the guy that shot up Gabby Giffords and around the time when Gabby Gifford was shot, Sarah Palin and Glenn Beck were both pretty sure they were inciting violence into people. And I when people say, well, one of their arguments against me is, well, you're just a Fox News watcher. I'm like, I don't watch Fox News. And Sarah Palin, I think she's the whore of Babylon. I don't like Sarah Palin, and she's loved by Fox News. I mean, you're just telling me, making these judgments against me when you're not addressing what I'm saying. So the left-wing terrorists, there was the guy in the church who shot up the church in Texas near San Antonio, close to where I live. And there's also the guy that went to the baseball game with the congressmen or the senators, you know, I couldn't really just define, oh, well, they're all left wing, but you know, that's, I mean, I couldn't say that without lying, and I don't want to do that when I'm trying to prove that all these people are pretty much fucking liars.
Tucson, Arizona, who has, for the past few weeks, he got a felony trespassing charge because he believed that a homeless camp was a child sex trafficking camp. It had nothing to do with it. He was live streaming it on YouTube and Facebook until Facebook finally brought all.
That guy he's talking about, I mean, I saw the story. I saw the story. It was brought to me, and somebody said, "Oh, you know, we got intel on, on what's going on down there. We're in the loop, and you know, they're giving me all this fucking crazy shit." And I was like, "That's all bullshit." You know what I'm saying? Like they brought up the rape tree, and if you Google like rape tree, I mean, 8 years ago, you'll have the same type of narrative. These guys that go through the Arizona desert or whatever looking for illegal aliens, and they're always saying there's a rape tree. I mean, it was easy to debunk, and those type of guys are like on the level of what I was talking about, where they're more aggressive, they're more gullible, and they have other people that are just as gullible as them, and they just it's hard to tell them that they're wrong. But I mean, whatever, it's a dude. It doesn't make up the whole bunch of people, you know, and that's what I'm tired of hearing about, because that shit doesn't matter. So we'll keep on going. Probably be changing the video here soon.
This stuff down. This stuff has real life consequences happening all the time now, and these people putting up Q signs everywhere at Trump rallies is not going to help it.
Clint, how much do you fear that this group is getting a wink and a nod from the right people to not stop? And what can the government do in a free society?
Yeah, I think it was a little over a year ago I talked, part of the reason this works is because we have politicians in this country that are doing influence operations that are very similar that we see to foreign media influence. And I think the other big thing is we had a hearing today in the Senate. The Senate Intel Committee, was talking about social media.
Yeah, we'll just do like what Facebook and YouTube did. We'll just ban everybody so they can't talk and they can't use a platform, like what they did to Alex Jones. Let's see. We're gonna go. This is a 3-minute video. I'm gonna play the whole video because I think it's close to the most honest, that they did covering QAnon. And I don't know who this guy is. It's CNN, but this is the close that we're going to get to honesty from the mainstream media. Here we go.
They wore shirts and signs emblazoned with only the letter Q. Their numbers seem to be growing, and they were spotted last night at President Trump's Florida rally. They are a new fringe conspiracy theory group called QAnon. I want to bring in CNN's Tom Foreman. Tom, who are these people, and what do they believe?
Well, broadly speaking, these are people who deeply mistrust the government, the mainstream media, and who treat any fact showing Donald Trump is wrong about anything as proof of a deep plot against him. Photos of missiles and mysterious strangers, rants about a shadow government, Freemasons, secret symbols, and predictions of a world about to change. All of this is part of the conspiracy stew cooked up by QAnon, an internet conspiracy persona, some followers of whom showed up at the president's most recent rally, and many of whom see him as a hero. Like them, ready to embrace wild theories, to claim secret plots against him, and to attack anyone who says otherwise.
Fake news, fake news. They are fake.
Internet postings associated with the movement gained traction fast among followers, like one that says the Parkland school shooting victims and witnesses were really actors.
See, this puts, I mean, they're just comments. They're just comments. That's the internet. I mean, do we need to explain how the internet works or what? That there's people that just fucking go and shit post everywhere or what? I mean, give me a fucking break.
NBC News noted earlier this week a spate of YouTube videos falsely accusing top celebrities of pedophilia.
The higher you go, the more sick it gets.
At the same time, the Q is attracting interest from others, including Roseanne Barr and Kurt Schilling.
And I've been asked, do you believe the Q? Do you know who the Q is?
The Washington Post says Q is an anonymous user claiming to be a government agent with top security clearance, waging war against the so-called deep state in service to the 45th president. But back on Earth, this is known. The promotion of conspiracy theories can have real consequences.
They're dangerous.
Hoover Dam was evacuated.
In June, police detained an armed man after he blocked Hoover Dam, demanding the release of a government report, apparently about Hillary Clinton's email, although such a report was already out. In 2016, police say a man fired a rifle in a D.C. pizza place as he claimed he was investigating a widespread conspiracy theory about human trafficking. He was convicted and is now serving 4 years.
We're not covering Pizzagate enough.
And Alex Jones, who pushed the Pizzagate conspiracy on his radio show, is now in court over another made-up tale. Families of victims of the Sandy Hook school shooting say they have been hounded mercilessly since Jones claimed their stories were all part of a hoax to push for gun control. He is countersuing them for legal defense fees.
Jones has also claimed the government was involved in the Oklahoma City bombing and the 9/11 attacks, and yet back in 2015, candidate Donald Trump told this leading promoter of conspiracy theories, "Your reputation is amazing. I will not let you down." So perhaps it's no surprise these QAnon conspiracy folks are now showing up at Trump rallies and making themselves heard.
Android users
and
can
the
now
young
have TYT in the palm of your hand.
Our TYT app
supporters who were sporting QAnon merch at a Trump event, and they wanted to ask them about what QAnon is. What are these conspiracy theories? Why do they believe in them? Without further ado, let's take a look.
Are you holding a big red, white, and blue Q? Why do you have it?
It's a movement, man. It's a shift. I can feel it coming.
Some
call it the Great Awakening.
You're wearing a shirt that says Q.
Listen to this reporter like interview these people and then just step over him. He's like, "Oh, so you don't, oh, then this and this and this and this." You know what I mean? It's like, let him fucking calm down, dude.
WWG 1 WGA. What does that mean?
It means where we go one, we go all.
Look, he almost touched her titties.
Where we go one, we go all. QAnon is.
It's a movement, man. It's a shift. I can feel it coming. Some call it the
Great
Great
sexual
Awakening.
You're wearing a shirt that says Q WWG 1 WGA. What does that mean?
Pervert.
It means where we go one, we
He's
go
a pervert.
all. QAnon is the people that believe in what Trump's trying to do to change our country.
Okay, so for those who might have missed this story this week, QAnon is essentially a group of individuals who believe all sorts of wacky conspiracy theories, some incredibly dangerous conspiracy theories that accuse certain members of our government of running child sex rings and things like that.
Do you see this reoccurring theme with that's the first thing these people bring up? What are they scared of? That's what makes Q to me sound more possible and believable, because these people are scared.
Remind you a lot of what we heard in the whole Pizzagate conspiracy theory. And this all started on Infinity Chan or 8chan. So it's a little different from 4chan. It's actually a little worse than 4chan, if you can believe that. And the individual who kind of started this, or maybe a small group of individuals, argued that he was actually a high-level member of government with security clearance, and that he knows what the deep state is trying to do against Trump, and he's actually working from the inside to help protect Trump, all sorts of nonsense.
What a
but anyway,
yenta.
there's lots more video, but I want you guys to jump in first.
Yeah, to give you a sense of how crazy they are. So they think that Robert Mueller is, which makes no sense because Trump is attacking Mueller nonstop. They think Robert Mueller is a good guy, that he's a white hat, and that he is actually going to uncover at the end Obama, Hillary Clinton, George Soros child sex ring and the coup that they were going to do against Trump.
The first step to hypnotization is repetition.
Who in their right mind would possibly? But they accuse everyone of being a pedophile and running child sex rings, including randomly Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks. Why? It's so weird. Their obsession with pedophilia
Maybe
is
they are.
insane. But
Maybe
to me,
they are.
what was interesting about this is seeing not just young guys who are like in it for the laugh.
There's pedophilia in Hollywood. Ask Corey Feldman. You know, ask him. Yeah.
Or have lost their minds or whatever. But middle-aged women who are like, oh, yeah, of course. I don't know that they know that it started on 8chan. I don't know if they know that people are messing with them. I mean, the guy who started is obviously having the time of his life, laughing and laughing, although he's a terrible guy because he's now set loose upon the world these dangerous people that are mentally unstable, and a lot of them aren't.
So I want to skip ahead to video 11 because what this video will show you is exactly what Jake had mentioned. This is not a group of teenage boys who are just having fun. There are real adults who genuinely believe in these conspiracy theories.
You believe there's a deep state?
Yes.
And what do you think that deep state's doing? You think they're running this country?
I think they were, and they're petrified now because they're losing their control.
But Donald Trump's the president. He's running the country, right?
Yeah, but he's having to fight against them.
I mean, he said he could do it all himself. Everything would be so easy when he came into office. And you think he's fighting with the deep state a year and a half into his term?
I think he's been fighting since before he was elected.
And who's in this deep state? Who are the people in it?
Oh, I definitely believe that, like, the Clintons, the Bushes, the Obamas.
So you think the Clintons, the Bushes, and the Obamas are running this country as we stand here in the rain?
No, they're
The
trying.
FBI, the CIA.
You know, I would have loved to know her day job. What does she do? Like, because if it turns out she's some kind of like, I don't know, healthcare provider, or she works in a hospital or something, I would be very concerned about the people, you know, that she works with and the lives that she's charged with, you know, taking care of.
That disgusts me because just because you have this set of beliefs, you can't be in charge of health care, the care of other people. You can't be a good person. You can't be a person that's sane. You can't be this and that, as this woman has just pointed out, and that's her whole role, is to say that. She has no other role on there to say that, and you know, I can't watch anymore. One thing I'd like to continue to say, though, or continue on the subject of these people being bad or dangerous, is, okay, that lady is an old lady, so she's dangerous, right? But what about these people? Can you answer this? Can you answer this right here? Looks like a bunch of dangerous, violent people. Where is that at? Who are these? Are these the people that we're talking about? That this video is talking about, the QAnons? Is this the QAnons here? Because I'd like to know. Is this QAnons? This has to be the QAnons that she's talking about, the dangerous people, right? Like, that's violence, right? Destruction of property. Enough with my sarcasm. This is at UC Berkeley. Protesters who violently demonstrated and rioted there because Milo Yiannopoulos went to town, was going to go and speak over there. And to me, this is probably the first we've seen of the left wing, the people that are against Trump, the same people like Whoopi Goldberg, you know, when she silenced Judge Jeanine on her show, the same type of people like that, and just everybody who's against Trump. This is them, you know what I mean? And this isn't the old lady with gout at the Trump rally, you know, with the Q sign, you know what I'm saying, who's just reading posts and following what's going on with QAnon. This is a reality. These are dangerous people. These people are just as dangerous as the one or two people, the one guy that holds up that goes to the Hoover Dam, and the other guy who goes to Pizzagate. This is a mass of people rioting. And you know what? They got away with it this time, right? But what have we seen? We've seen when these people are actually, someone steps up to them, they're big pussies. They're cowards. They hit females over the head. They take cheap shots at people, and when people are ready for them, they get beaten up. They get shut down pretty quick by the opposition, and that's what people are mad about, and that's why there's so much information on misinformation that we're seeing in the mainstream media, because they don't want to accept this. That they are the ones that are fueling this, okay? And I believe I'm gonna start ending this. But one thing I wanted to say is that as far as the deep state, who is the deep state, right? They are the mainstream media, the people, certain members in the military with contacts and the resources to do such things as there are people in the media and people in the military, the FBI, the CIA, and that have the ability to smear and undermine everything the president is doing. And let's see here. And that's where I am at with everything. I was gonna conclude with everybody's like, well, Trump says what Trump did in Helsinki was treason, etc. You know, I don't believe it's treason because they say, well, he didn't trust the intelligence apparatus, right? This is the same intelligence apparatus, and when we talk about false flags, I believe Parkland happened, but I believe it was the Parkland shooting. I believe they let it happen because the same intelligence apparatus, the FBI, which they do this type of thing often, is there's a person that reported the Nicholas Cruz to the FBI, saying that he left a comment on his YouTube channel, and the comment made the guy freak out so much that he contacted the FBI about it, and the FBI said we couldn't find who the user was, yet the user used his full legal name, Nicholas.Cruz, as his user tag, but they couldn't find him. They're the FBI. Okay, so I mean that's all I gotta say, man. The deep state is real, and the New World Order, and hopefully I presented this all in a presentable way where people can understand what is QAnon now. My name is Olympus Mons. I'm host of the Above Limits podcast. Just got to give a shout out to my buddy Sin in heaven. Rest in peace, my brother, my co-host. Love you very much, and I'm glad that I do this for you, because you told me that you were gonna die, and you told me to keep it going. So subscribe. That's the main thing you can do to help me out, is to subscribe and watch. And that's all I need from you. This is Olympus Mons with the Above Limits podcast. You have a great one.